want to welcome you to our monthly manna for the month of September. We're going to be talking about some things that I hope will help you in your journey, things that you can think about and hopefully apply. Maybe an insight that you've heard before, maybe it's the first time, but I want to talk to you about the 5 love languages. 5 love languages. An author by the name of Gary Chapman, about 15 years ago, wrote a book by that title, The 5 Love Languages. And the whole concept, the thesis of his writing is that each one of us needs to know how to express love and receive love. But sometimes how you feel loved is not the way your partner feels loved. And if you don't speak each other's language, there can be conflict. Just this last few days ago, I was doing some pre-marital counseling with a very nice couple. I'll be doing their wedding in October. And anytime I do premarital counseling, and I always do that before a wedding, I never marry a couple without spending time doing premarital counseling, but we always talk about the 5 love languages. Sometimes I'll have them read through the book, or sometimes I'll give them a handout sheet and we'll discuss it. But it's really essential that you know, number 1, what makes you feel loved. Number 2, what makes your spouse feel loved. And once you, number 3, understand that, will you speak that love language, as Gary Chapman calls it? His premise is that all of us have a primary and a secondary love language. As I share these 5 love languages, pay attention, and I want you to be able to identify what's your primary love language, maybe even the secondary one, and if you're married or in a marital relationship, in a special relationship with another man or woman, that you would identify what is their love language, their primary and secondary one. The first that he talks about are words of affirmation. Words of affirmation. Some people really feel loved if that special person in their life tells them that they're handsome or pretty or smart or hardworking, that they're a good mom or a good dad, that was a wonderful meal, or you look very pretty in that dress, you look handsome in that shirt. Just some words of affirmation, words of encouragement. Understand, we live in a world that can be very critical, very cynical. And when you get that kind of feedback around you, maybe at work, or maybe somewhere in the community, and there's so much negativity, and sometimes it's directed at you, isn't it nice to have that one special person in your life always be the one who affirms you, who encourages you and uplifts you? The first love language, words of affirmation. The second love language, quality time. Quality time. Some people feel most loved when that other special person in their life, maybe a spouse, enjoy spending time with them, special time. It may be time in the morning having breakfast together, or in the evening sitting for dinner. Maybe it's going out once a week on a special date night, or maybe doing casual things like a walk at the beach or a walk in the park. But just having time together, just the two of you, is what we call quality time. Now, some people, they don't feel that. They like to have some company and some time together, but it's not that special to them in that it makes them feel loved. But other people, that is their primary love language. Thirdly, gifts. Now, I'm not talking about a new car every week, but even sometimes small gifts, flowers, candy, his favorite ice cream, or cookies, or whatever it might be. Just small gifts that remind the person, I was thinking about you. And when I saw this, or when I came across that, I knew that you would like it. And so I stopped, I went, I purchased it, I brought it home, and now I'm giving it to you. Sometimes just gifts, small gifts, make a person really feel special and really feel loved. The fourth love language that Gary Chapman mentioned was acts of service. Acts of service. Doing things that might lighten the load of your loved one, your spouse. For instance, if a husband and wife, let's say they're both employed, and they're both at work. And the husband gets to come home early for some reason on a particular day. And instead of sitting in front of the television set, flipping from channel to channel, he cleans up the kitchen, does up the dishes, begins the supper meal, sets the table, so when his wife comes home, the kitchen is spotless, a meal is prepared, and she feels loved. It was an act of service. He did something for her that she would have had to do for herself, and she feels so honored and so special and so loved because of that act of service. The fifth love language, physical touch. Physical touch. Some people just feel very special and very loved if that special person in their life, just when they're watching television, puts their arm around them, or if you're walking down the sidewalk, they reach over and initiate and take your hand. Just that casual, special touch lets them know that they're cared for and they're loved and appreciated. Physical touch doesn't have to lead to passion in any excessive form, but just that consistent physical touch helps to make some people feel like they're loved. So we've talked about the 5 love languages. Now here's the key before we end. Once you have discerned what your spouse, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, what their love language is, the question is, will you speak it? Will you speak it? Because if your love language, for instance, is quality time, but that's not their love language. They want words of affirmation. Just pushing your love language on them will not get the results you desire. But understanding their love language might have wonderful dividends and blessings and benefits for both of you, because the most perfected relationship is when 2 people are committed to meeting the other person's need. Not manipulating the person to meet your needs, but you're committed to the happiness of the other. In other words, you understand and speak their love language with no strings attached. Typically, if a person does that and they make that commitment, the other person very likely, in many instances, will also want to know your love language. They'll also want to know your primary and secondary love language, and out of love, begin to speak it for you also. So in the month of September, I'm going to encourage you. The fall is coming. We're beginning a new season, a new school year, and new challenges are before us. The summer is behind us. What if you commit yourself in the month of September to study the 5 love languages, to decide which one most fits your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiancé, and by commitment and dedication, begin to speak that language, and hopefully they'll begin to speak yours. The 5 again are words of affirmation, quality time, small gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Here's what I'm going to guarantee. If you will learn the love language of the person you love, and they learn yours, you will probably experience a little more of heaven on earth than a relationship of conflict and torment and tensions and fights. You need to learn to speak the love language of the person you love. God bless you. Have a great month.